launch into Google Maps.
Mm-hmm.
And so within Android Auto, you have the full power of Google Maps, right?
Right.
There's a few things that we've added in since the last time we showed this. One is now notifications about your route in real time. So hopefully a notification should come up. This, yeah,
You
here.
are on the fastest route, and your route is clear.
Cool.
You should reach your destination by 12:37 p.m.
So it's gonna monitor your route at all times and see, is there a faster route? Is there a new hazard? Is there some new incident that's along your route? And it will notify you if anything ever comes up.
Right.
The other new thing that we introduced this time around is a new scrolling interaction. So scrolling on the map is kind of difficult.
In 1,000 feet,
So we
please
tried
follow
to
2
simplify
lanes
it a
to
bit.
turn
Let me
right
just
onto
turn that down. We tried to simplify it a bit. So what we did is we have an auto snapping. So as you just make a gesture, it will automatically snap you along the route. So you don't have to do that fine motor skills to try and pan along your route.
Do you do that on maps on phones too, or just
This is just in here. I don't, to be honest, I don't know for the other map side.
Okay.
But we have some map folk here, and they could probably answer that for you.
I'll check it out.
Yeah. I don't think so, though, right now. So that's maps. I'll just work across the bottom bar. So along the bottom bar, you have all the different feature areas.
Sorry, a question. So
Yeah.
you don't have to have anything special in the cars. Like you can project Android Auto on any.
No,
dashboard?
it's not any. Yeah. So in order to get Android Auto actually to the car, the system, the head unit system, has to have the right integration. So there's code and there's firmware on this end to make sure to actually do the handshake and like the protocol and the communication between the two.
Okay.
So it's not as simple
about
as
it, though.
just plugging in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the phone, it's app Android Auto.
Yeah, exactly. Android Auto. Yeah. So you need the app on this phone, and then you need a car that supports it. So it's really mostly future car lines. Like Hyundai just released or just announced that their availability. GM recently announced, or Chevy recently announced. So there's going to be upcoming cars. There's also aftermarket solutions back here, and those are ones that you can put into existing cars.
Got it.
Yeah. Cool. So that's maps. Phone is fairly conventional, so it's your favorites, and then you'll see the drawer where you can access other features.
The UI is very unconventional.
It's very unconventional. How so?
Very intuitive and a lot nicer.
So there's one point to make here too, is that what we've stripped it down from really the standard UI, and this was really tough. We have to look at what's the core features that really make sense in the car. What you don't see is a phone book. So unbound lists, this idea of unbound lists, are tough to put into the car because maybe somebody only has 50 contacts, but maybe somebody has 1,500 contacts.
Right.
It gets really, really, really difficult. So we're trying to avoid those unbound lists and instead focus on quick lists. Something that you can get in, you can pick somebody, you can get out, and you're done. For everything else, that's what we have voice for. So voice can always be that deep dive to say, I want to play or I want to call that one specific person.
Right.
And then, yeah, so it's a nice shortcut.
Google?
It doesn't support hot micing. Yeah, it's a tough one because, it's like the cabin environment, other people talking, so there's a lot of potential for mishits. And
What about if you use your Android Wear for that?
No, you can't use it for Android Auto, unfortunately. But you can use the steering wheel. So we integrate the steering wheel buttons. So you could use, you can activate voice either by tapping or by using the steering wheel.
And dashboard buttons actually work.
The dashboard buttons work, but they're assigned back to the native experience. So
if you tap on this, we'll go back to the native experience.
Yeah, so if I tap there, it's going to take me back to the native experience. And so that's up to the OEMs, what level of control they want to specify. But most reserve the right for this. They always want that exit to say, hey, take me back to VW or take me back to wherever.
Makes sense.
Yeah. In the media apps, this is where we start to see the developer story. So we have a bunch of developers that have developed really great apps for inside the car, including Pandora and Spotify, Pocket Casts, some new ones. MLB at Bat is going to be available soon. Audible is a really cool one because it's just so simple. I love this app. You can play your book, and you can choose other books.
So these apps
really simple.
That's pretty cool. So these apps can actually control through watch or not at all. Like when you have Android Auto running, you cannot use your watch. for now?
They're segregated, so the watch actually doesn't interact with Android Auto.
It's two different processes.
It's two different things. Yeah. In the future, there might be ways we'll look into that, but for right now, they're separate processes. Yeah. On the audio side, you can see that the media apps all will have a similar framework, and they'll have a familiar layout. So everything's laid out in a consistent manner, so that whenever you jump into an app, you immediately know how to use it. You don't have to guess, well, where is the play button? How do I use this? So
these are like widgets that you provide in the SDK?
Exactly. So we control the layout, but then the developer can control what features do they actually want to put in. So each app will have slightly different features that they want to include, but it's all still a consistent layout. In the last one, we also have, we don't really have any apps to show yet, but this is going to be car apps. So if the auto manufacturer wanted to develop apps for Android Auto, they could. So as an example, like VW could develop a VW app, Audi could develop an Audi app, and whatever apps that they might want. So I think Audi has a few right now that we might showcase later on today, but right now we don't have any in here. But these will come at some point. Beyond that, there's also just the power of voice here. So you can do things like, did the Warriors win their last game?
Yes, the Warriors beat the Rockets 104-90.
So you can ask questions. What's the weather? Do I need a raincoat? Set a reminder.
In case you don't want to look at your dial.
We don't have that voice in there, actually. That's an interesting one, but no, we don't have that. But anything that you could ask it, you can pretty much ask it. You can set navigation, you can find locations, you can call people. It's really, really robust. And then you can also use it for messaging. So I'll just showcase messaging real fast. So let's just say, so text messaging is obviously a really big problem inside the car, and one of the main reasons we designed Android Auto was to keep people from doing exactly what I'm doing here. Right?
Yeah.
So text messaging in the car, very difficult, causes a lot of distraction, and we want to solve that. So what we do is we have a voice-driven interface. So
here's the message. Hey, how's it going?
We can get messages in the car now, but it's only driven through voice. And then you can also reply. Reply.
What's the message?
Hey, it's going great up on the 3rd floor.
Got it. Here's your message. Hey, it's going great up on the 3rd floor. Do you want to send it?
Yes.
Sending message.
And it's as simple as that.
I like how we didn't have to say send to who.
Yeah. So if you reply, it will keep who did you last listen to, and then you just have to reply.
What about
awesome.
emails?
Emails at this point we're not putting in there, but it's something that may migrate in at some point. It's a tough one because with every voice system that you have inside the car, you're putting in some level of cognitive load, cognitive distraction. And so we're very careful about what do we actually try and put in versus not put in. So that's one that we're investigating, but we haven't made a decision on yet.
So it depends on regulators or something like that.
Well, yeah, it depends on regulators, and it also depends on, actually more than that, it's not really regulators, but it more depends on, we have a goal for Android Auto overall to really improve distraction, improve the driving experience, reduce crashes. And so just more from that fundamental goal, we're very careful about what we put in.
So it's against your strategy, basically.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say it's against, but it needs to be thoroughly evaluated before we say it's okay to do it. Yeah, if that makes sense. Cool.
And you can play music. Just
Yep.
Start music.
Yeah.
So
So
all the Google
so with
now come
voice. So we're also